All around the world, people tell the same stories, of shadows that whisper, of water that suddenly stands still, of eyes watching you when you think you're alone. 5 creatures, 5 lands, 5 warnings from ancient times. These tales come from humanity's oldest traditions. They speak of things moving beyond the light, of beings that wait in the dark, sometimes kind, often cruel. And they all share one truth. They mirror our fears. In the quiet rivers of Japan, where the water glides like glass, lives the Kappa, a creature the size of a child with slick green skin stretched over sinewy muscle. Its head is flat, crowned with a shallow pool of water, its source of life. As long as that water remains, the Kappa cannot be defeated. It moves silently through the river, ripples betraying its passage. When it leaves the water, droplets slide from its limbs like cold sweat. Witnesses claim it tilts its head politely and speaks with eerie civility. Children who played too close to the riverbank said they saw small hands reaching from below. But the Kappa follows rules. If you bow deeply, it must bow back. The water spills, and its power drains away. In old villages, people carved their names into cucumbers and cast them into the water to appease it. Others swore they'd seen its tracks, slimy handprints on river stones where the water suddenly went still. In the frozen north of America, among endless forests and ice, the Wendigo roams. A creature that was once human until hunger, greed, and cold twisted it into something else. Its skin is stretched thin, its bones visible beneath. Its mouth is too wide, its lips cracked and bleeding as if it could never be full. Sometimes you hear it before you see it, a wail in the wind that sounds like a scream from within. Its steps are uneven, broken, as if it walks on shattered legs. Some describe it with antlers, others as a hollow shadow shaped by hunger itself. The Algonquin believed the Wendigo is born when a starving person consumes human flesh. Whoever does so loses their humanity, cursed to wander, eternally starving. Entire settlements avoided regions of supposed sightings. Once, they say, a winter camp was found deserted, food, tools, and firewood untouched. Only the people were gone. Deep within the Slavic forests, among birch and mist, stands a hut on chicken legs. It spins until its door faces you, but only if you know the right words. Inside lives Baba Yaga. Her face is wrinkled like dried bark, her eyes glow yellow in the dark. She flies in a mortar, steering it with a pestle, sweeping her tracks away with a silver broom. When she laughs, it sounds like burning wood cracking in the fire. Her house stands on a carpet of bones, of animals, and sometimes of people. But Baba Yaga is no simple witch. She tests, she judges, she rewards. Those who show respect may receive her help. Those who lie or act with greed vanish. In the villages, mothers whispered to their children, "Always bow in the forest, you never know who listens." Sightings, perhaps none real, but carvings and symbols in old Russian records suggest she's older, rooted in ancient Earth Mother myths predating any church. Baba Yaga, a symbol of power, wisdom, and the fear of feminine will. Off the misty shores of Scotland, the Nuckelavee waits, half man, half horse, and entirely without skin. Its flesh steams under the salty air, its muscles twitch, its veins pulse like threads of fire. Its human torso grows grotesquely from the horse's back, fused like a nightmare. It is the embodiment of plague, decay, and rot. They say its breath spoils crops and kills cattle. When it moves, a wet, sucking sound echoes along the coast, the sound of bare flesh against stone. The Nuckelavee cannot cross fresh water, its one true weakness. Fishermen built homes near rivers, believing they'd be safe. In 1840, locals on the Orkney Islands claimed to see a rider without skin galloping along the coast, followed by a sulphurous smell. Whether fear or truth, no one knows. But belief in the Nuckelavee was strong enough that people stayed indoors during storms. The sea, they said, had become hungry. In the dense jungles of the Philippines, where mist hangs heavy between ancient trees, the Tikbalang prowls. A towering figure with the head of a horse and the body of a man. Its skin glistens as though made of smoke and flesh. Its eyes glow amber, Yet hollow, as if seeing through your soul, it moves fast and silent, its rhythm inhuman. Travelers who lose their way report walking in circles, passing the same tree, the same stone, again and again. Some swear they found hoofprints deep in the forest where no horse could walk. Others heard laughter between the leaves, followed by silence. To break the curse, one must turn their clothes inside out, or ask the forest for permission before entering. For those who don't respect the Tikbalang, lose more than their path, they lose themselves. These 5 creatures are more than stories. They are reflections of fear, pride, and survival. The Kappa teaches respect, the Wendigo humility, Baba Yaga tests morality, the Nuckelavee our boundaries, and the Tikbalang reminds us that reverence for nature isn't superstition, it's survival. Some say myths die when no one listens. Others believe they only grow quiet. And somewhere, between water, forest, and wind, they wait to be heard again.